All right, everyone, welcome everybody to yet another episode of my YouTube series for Car Mechanic Sim 2021. This one's going to be a bit of a recreation of a build I've done before, just not on YouTube. I did it as part of a streaming content on Twitch, but I wanted to recreate it here using this car. And this car in the game, it's called a Chieftain Bandit. It looks like it could be based off of like a Pontiac Trans Am, like a vintage one from back in the day. But the name should be a bit of a giveaway as to what we're going to be doing. Obviously, we're not going to keep the very yellow color of the car, but we are going to make this look a lot like the car from Smokey and the Bandit. And they actually have the liveries for it, for this car. So we're gonna, you know what color we're gonna paint this if you've seen the movie or at least seen the car. Uh, this one's in reasonably good shape. I paid, let's see, 27,000 for it. Body's in decent shape. The parts not so much, but you know everything else is in reasonable shape. Before we do anything else, though, let's take care of the frame real quick. This will take just a moment. All right. Rid of that. That should be at 100%. It is. Even that by itself knocked the value up a little bit, which is good. We're basically just going to go ahead and rip this thing down. We should. Okay, that happened. Usually when you pull out that, okay, when you pull out the front bumper like that, it's okay. We can deal with that. I remember running into that last time, but hey, maybe I did. Like I said, everything's getting pulled out in terms of the body panels and windows. We want this to 100 to get to 100%. Do that, it's going to take some effort. That should be oh, hang on, missed something. Got everything but the fender. Like everything's the same color. It's like, good grief. Look at that gas tank's kind of sticking out the back there a little bit. But okay. So we're going to, let's see. We're going to go ahead and replace those two. Gonna get rid of the license plates. We're gonna make our own custom ones just for this car. Window, 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 and window. Okay. That. And get both the headlights on the shopping list. Those can't be fixed up. The rest of this can. And thankfully the body's in really good shape, so this should go rather quickly. We're going to go through the standard thing here. We're going to put all the performance parts we can in the engine and the exhaust system, but not the suspension. That's my usual MO with most of these builds. Does it get repetitive? Sure. But it's the process that I like doing, you know, with this. Okay. Go ahead and put everything back on. This one was a barn find, so that's why this even looks as good as it does. If this were a junkyard find, it'd be basically a gigantic rust trap. Trunk. And we forgot the other mirror. There we go. We already got the windows and headlights, taillights on the list. Go ahead and shop for those. Oh, Chieftain Bandit. Right taillight. You. Got your left taillight. Front windshield. Left door window. Right. Excuse me, rear window. There's no right rear window, but it's just a rear window. There we go. Front right door window. Give. Right headlight. And of course the left headlight. Alright, let's get those installed and then we'll get the custom plates ordered. Okay, let's get the tail lights in. Off we go. Go to the plate shop. And this time we're not going to do the typical sleepy custom plate. We're still doing a Kansas plate. But we're going to change it up a little bit. It was either Bandit or Smokey, so I chose Bandit again. I'm pretty sure I did that. Bandit. And hello. I know I can spell. There we go. And fly part. Cool. Alright, so body and frame are at 100%. While we're here, not where I wanted to go, I want to take everything out of here and get all new stuff. Okay, let's order all new interior parts. Okay, that. And the steering wheel. Neat looking steering wheel, by the way. There. We want to go to assemble. And go to normal mode. Alright, so that's 3 out of 4, so we're gonna go ahead and take this over to paint. Because like I said, we're gonna make this match pretty close to the car from the movie, or at least as close as we can get it. So we're going to do a black metallic. And then for the livery, which you'll see here in a second. That's not it. There it is. They got a few choices. The striping actually doesn't look bad on this. But like I said, we're going for a theme build here. Although this, if it didn't have the livery with the bird on it, that striping would be a definite contender. Now, just for reference here, oh good, it'll pop up on the correct window. Let's see, Bandit car. Images. Hang on. You see that? Yeah, exactly. I guess it's close enough for government work. Hang on. We're clicking on the right thing here. All right. We're going to do screenshots at the end. Just like to try to mix it up once in a while. You know what I mean? Put this back in the garage. That's so pretty. It looks so much better than that. I'm sorry. I know people out there love that bright yellow color. I'm just not a fan. Sorry. It's just a personal preference thing. Anyway, let's get this little sucker off the ground here. We lucked out with this one. It's got most of its parts from the looks of it, at least enough that can sit on its own. Let's see. Do we want to? Yeah, let's go ahead and just pop it all the way up. Not the most flattering angle, but hey. Question, are these the same size? So 205, 75, 14s. Two 05, 75 by 14s. Yeah, they're all for the same size. Good. I kind of figured they were, but we did the previous episode where we had the car with the two different size tires, and gotta be a little careful with that. Like you mix and match them, like one size on one side on the other, and you flip it on the back axle like that, and the car won't sit properly. I mean, in real life it would be really obvious, but in the game it's like it won't even let you. It just puts it up on blocks if you mismatch the tires from front to back. Like you have two different sizes on each axle, or on the front, and two different sizes on the back. Yeah, it won't even let you roll the car out. I mean, it'll let you. It just puts it up on blocks everywhere you go and won't let you drive it. But anyway. So yeah, we're just going to do the standard treatment with this. We're going to do the rims, do the motor restoration, the engine restoration, do the exhaust, and then front compartment, fuel system, and then do the suspension work, and then we'll do the alignments and dyno. Anyway, on with the show. We might even be able to salvage these rims this time. Yeah, like I said, I actually did this build once before on stream, but I didn't want to have to isolate the VOD, plus it had music going, so I know YouTube's a bit of a stickler, even more so than Twitch in some cases, when it comes to using music, even though I have permission to, you know, at least on Twitch I do. Didn't want to take the chance, so I didn't try to isolate that VOD. Plus, it had like alerts and stuff going on. I have my stuff turned off here while I'm doing the recording. At least it's supposed to be turned off anyway. Right. So let's see if we can fix these rims. Oh, good. We can fix them all. Save us a little bit of trouble. Excellent. We don't have to buy any more rims. Yay. Okay, so those are all 100%. We'll go ahead and get 4 of those. Go to the tire shop. And boom. So we need 205, 75. R14s. We need 4 of them. Bam. Pretty sure I got the right one, but let's double check. You always want to double, triple check this before you go to mount the tires. So 205, 75, R14, 205, 75, R14. So yes, we're good. Let's get rid of that, that, and that, and that. All right, let's get these tires mounted. I need more coffee or caffeine in some form. This ain't doing it for me. I just try to balance a RAM by itself. That's smart. Good thing the game has some idiot protections built into it. It has been an interesting day. Like in between recording the last episode and this one, I went on a bit of a road trip. I wanted to see how long it would take me to get to the place that I was supposed to be doing a job interview. And actually made pretty good time, but then again, it was a holiday weekend, it's a Saturday, and you know, it's not really, I guess, a true representation of how long it would take. Because you figured normal everyday business traffic on the highway that I was on, it'll add about, what, 10-15 minutes at least to the travel time. Because the highway, one of the highways is a major north-south thoroughfare for like the entire part of this entire part of the state. So yeah. Anyway, so I think, yeah, I guess I could probably leave them in my inventory. It's not going to be the end of the world if I do that. We're going to be taking them back off to do the suspension anyway. Let's just leave them off. And see what we need to do here. Actually, I probably could have... I jumped the gun, literally, in this case. Okay, so she does have an intact oil pan, but let's go ahead and get... let's get this drive shaft off of here. You have a starter. You do not. Okay. It's just a gearbox. This looks like it might actually be salvageable too. So the exhaust pipe and the manifold are missing on that side, so that should be clear. Just need to get rid of this. In fact, I'm going to do that with it. And while we're here, let's go ahead and drain the oil. A1, please. Thank you. Well, I didn't have much in it. Either way, we're good. Ain't much of the exhaust left either. Yeah, just the mufflers. Go ahead and nuke those while we're here, because we're going to be getting rid of them anyway. We're not going to try to fix them. They're going to get replaced with performance parts. What I do want to try, though, before we cherry pick the motor out of this thing, I want to fix the drive shaft and the gearbox. So that way those are 100% for when we get ready to put them back in. And they are. Okay. Time to get this thing back down to earth. And we're going to pull this thing clean out of the car. Okay, I just want to make sure we're missing all the fluid reservoirs, and it looks like we are. Looks like the oil was the only thing we had to worry about, which is good. Simplifies things. The only one we would have had to really get concerned about besides the oil was the coolant anyway. And we don't even have a radiator, let alone a reservoir, so I think we're okay. Actually, we're going to leave that there for now. I almost set that back where it came from, but we're not done with it yet. And she's mostly complete, but not quite. Like I said, we're missing some parts here, but most of this stuff's going to get thrown out anyway. We're going to replace everything. Well, we're going to fix... Well, scratch that. For the engine, at least, we're going to sell everything except for the engine block and the crankshaft. We're going to... If we could fix both of those, we'll use that as the core of the new engine. The nucleus of it, if you will. And then we'll build as many performance parts on top of that. Failing that, using standard parts all the way up. And then when we get to doing like the suspension stuff, we'll do the whole fix what we can, buy what we can't routine, like we did with previous builds. So, like I said, we're starting with this. Everything's 100%. So, start from the top. Work our way down. Oh. Helps if I take the filter off. And the only reason why I do it different with the engine now is just because there's a large number of performance parts available. And I didn't want to have to sit there and sort out exactly which ones are which. I usually just do it as I'm looking at the parts list. Easier for me that way for some reason. Call it a personal choice. Yeah, it's missing all of its doodads. That's fine. Okay, yeah. Got intake manifold, that's out. Boy, she's missing at least one rocker arm, which is fine. We're going to replace them all anyway. Like I said, I've seen, and you guys have seen in the previous episodes, much worse condition vehicles than this. And we've managed to bring it back to, you know, a respectable looking condition. The big thing on here is that yes, I go fast with this, and yes, I do make mistakes. That's the, you know, happens. I just don't happen to edit out any of them, you know, well, let's just say I've had to do very little editing with my videos, and that's for a reason. One's just, it makes it easier not having to edit them, and two, you get to see the actual process instead of just this, you know, cleaned up, jump cut laden video. And yeah, only in some rare extreme circumstances will I actually, you know, knock on fake wood here. Only under extreme circumstances would I ever do anything like cut out a major section of something, because I either messed up or did had something happen, or, you know, just basically something you wouldn't want to show on YouTube, which thankfully hasn't happened yet and hopefully never will. But and basically what I'm saying is I try to keep my edits to a minimum. So yeah, makes the video a little smoother that way. It seems more organic too. And also, I'm not sponsored by the makers of this game or the car makers that have lovingly offered, well, not offered, they licensed their IP to this company. So I'm just a person who happens to really like this game. I mean, I wouldn't be above doing a sponsorship if one came up, but, you know, chances of that happening, I'd probably have a better chance of winning the lottery. I'm not gonna be BSing anybody on that. No delusions of grandeur coming from this person, that's for sure. But anyway, let's get on with the show here. Like I said, we're making good progress here. Gotta get a few more little bits and bobs off the front, and then it's going to be taking oil pan off and getting the pistons out. Compared to our previous builds, this thing is actually in okay shape. Come on. Click on the wrong thing and it just sends you off into the weeds sometimes. Go, get that timing chain off. That camshaft out. Now we're gonna pop this thing on its side. Get this oil pan off. Maybe if I can get this bolt. There we go. Oh, there's another one. Okie dokie. One's actually got a whole set of, rod caps on it. Used to working with engines that are in much worse shape. Those ones with the Ford DLC, we had to kind of, those were okay, but some of the non-DLC cars were, yeah, let's just say they were scary condition. Like we did that Winchester build a few episodes back. That was one of the first really bad junkyard finds I did. At least for YouTube anyway. And ooh, that one turned out really good, by the way. The paint job that was available, the striping job that was done for it, top marks on that. I was really surprised how well that one turned out. That one was kind of done as not necessarily a throwaway episode, but I needed to wanted to have a junkyard find challenge for myself, and I was like, all right, see if we can make this thing pretty. And like I said, pretty much just knocked it out of the park on it. I was rather happy with how that one turned out. You know, one that was kind of surprisingly successful was the F350 build. Because I pretty much plowed through all 4 vehicles, oh, pardon me, that were in the DLC that was released, and I was like, okay, if I get some views, fine. If I don't, I had fun doing it, Well, just the F350 build alone, it's only not even been out a week, and y'all are just killing it with that stuff, man. We're up almost 100 views on just that video alone. I can't thank y'all enough for just being so awesome about this stuff. Honestly, wasn't expecting this to take off like it did. I mean, just the recent videos that I've done, we're up a couple hundred views for the channel already. And growing. I mean, hopefully we keep growing, but y'all like this car mechanic sim stuff a hell of a lot, and I, as a result, earlier today, I went ahead and bought the rest of the DLC. So what we're going to probably end up doing is, provided y'all are still interested in that stuff, which it seems like you are, we're going to be going one DLC at a time, trying to find them through auctions, because I ran out of barn finds. I went through all the maps, and they're like, you didn't like any of the cars. So we'll be getting everything through auctions and or junkyard finds as I can find them, if I'm that lucky. But we've got everything from like Lotus to I think like Mercedes. There's all kinds of the fancy cars. You can go on the Steam page and see all the DLCs. We're going to have content for a very long time. As long as you guys are willing to put up with my, nonsense, we're going to have a good time here. Okay, so put that to condition. I fixed that freaking rod cap. I'm going to go ahead and just preemptively nuke that, even though I didn't have to. We're going to sell the rest of them. Pretty much anything 90% below, which is going to keep just the 100% stuff. But yeah, like I said, a lot of these DLCs have like a small handful of cars to them. If I can find them in an auction for a decent price or find them in the junkyard, yeah, we're doing them. And I like to be able to try to do it organized because I kind of spaced out the board DLC stuff because I hadn't really, you know, crystallized what I wanted to do with this series yet. But now that I have all the DLCs, we can go back. Well, not necessarily go back, but for the other DLC packs, we could go one pack at a time and find those cars and, you know, fix them up one at a time too. Do the same thing with them, do the performance engine stuff, performance exhaust stuff, and fix the rest of it up to 100%, just like I've been doing here, you know. But we'll be seeing some very different cars here in the near future. Although, that's going to be at least 1, 2, 4 cars out. So we've got the Bandit, we've got the wannabe police car, and we've got what looks like an 80s, early 90s Corvette, and another interesting looking, like a almost like an 80s or 90s Volvo, or early Mercedes type boxy car. I wanted to kind of throw something in there to be a little different. It was another junkyard find that looked interesting. And once we get those out of the way, it's going to be all DLC all day long, as far as I can take it. So, but anywho, so we sold all that stuff. So let's go ahead and create our parts list. Okay, we got a flywheel, oil filter, alternator, and power steering. Get that camshaft on there. 8 pistons with conrod. 3 crankshaft bearing cap. And I also figured that little boxy car would be a nice change of pace, because we've been doing a lot of V8s lately. Thought maybe I could use it as a palate cleanser along with the along with this build and the Corvette look-alike. You know, just kind of step away from the DLC stuff. Just do some of the, the non-DLC cars for a bit. See where we end up with those, and then once we get my current inventory of cars cleared, then we're going to be, full tilt into the DLCs. Okay, let's get back in there and let's go shopping. All right, let's get our flywheel. Thank you. Oil filter's not a performance part. Let's get the alternator. Our steering pump. Fuel filter. Ignition coil. And our pistons, which will need the rings, so we'll do that first. These by themselves are not performance parts, but everything else is. Well, the thing it connects to is, I should say. Oh, whoa, whoa, whoa. Camshaft is definitely a performance part. Got that. Need 3 of these. I hecked up, but thankfully it was a minor issue. There we go. Okay. Performance part there, performance part there. Everywhere. And got the ignition coil. Fuel filter. Alright, let's get I want to get the crankshaft bearing caps in there before we start the pistons. Excellent. Alright, let's get those pistons in there. Usually going pretty fast. Okay, I think that is it on this round. We'll get our clutch plate. rod cap for each of the pistons, cam gear, distributor, couple of engine heads. I think that's gonna be it for this round. Let's get our clutch plate. Rod caps are standard parts, so is the cam gear. Distributor is fine. The engine heads are definitely a performance part, and the fact that those are going to give us 9% each is going to be pretty nuts. We're talking about, what, 18% total, you know, increase in performance just off that. That's going to be pretty darn impressive. Looking forward to seeing what the dyno numbers are from this. Can't remember what the ones were. I think I have a screenshot somewhere, but I don't want to dig it up right now. Mainly because I'm in the middle of recording. Sleepy had done his homework, we'd have had something else interesting to show. Sleepy's tired. Imagine that. Okay, that on there. Let's go ahead and do the engine heads while we're on this side of the engine. Okay, back up a little bit. There we go. Yeah, I didn't remember if I got that part already or not. That's okay. We'll get it eventually. This next round of parts, we should be able to get the oil pan, and then we can write the engine and finish the rest of the assembly with it right side up. Okay. That. Both the manifolds. Timing chain. Rotor. Intake manifold. And pressure plate. Oh, and the push rods. Don't want to forget those. Let's see. At least some of these are performance parts. Let's go here. Distributor rotor. Gotcha. Intake manifold, definitely a performance part. Pressure plate. Exhaust manifold, we need 2 of those. And rest looks like standard parts. Okay, got the timing chain. And push rods. There we go. Oh, we forgot the spark plugs, but that's alright. We'll get the rest of these parts on, then we'll go do that. We'll add it to the next round of parts. Let's go ahead and do the push rods while we're over here. Come on. There you go. Almost there. Maybe. What else we got? Like the other exhaust manifold. And the timing chain. Yep, hang on. Okay. So let's get 8 of those. And then 16 of these. Distributor cap. Both carbs. Timing cover. And what else can we get? Oh, right. Clutch release bearing. Switch over to the performance shop and get the performance related stuff first. Boom. Distributor cap. Thank you. Get the 2 carbs. Those will give us a nice 6% boost. Clutch release bearing standard, timing cover, and rocker arms are all standard parts. Okay, there's our timing cover. And crutch release bearing. Yeah, sure. Clutch release bearing is what I meant to say. That on there. These rocker arms on this side taken care of, and then we'll work our way around the engine. Get the carburetors on, because I happened to be looking at them at the time. Okay, let's get over here and put these on. Starting with the spark plugs. And the rocker arms. Alright, should have that's installed. Yeah. Okay, now we can do the next round. Wires. 2 clips for that. Water pump, pulley. And okay, I want to make sure we're not doubling up on things here. The engine head covers. All right, let's go. Which shops here? I always want to do the performance stuff first. Air filter base should not be a performance part. Yeah, it's not. Ignition wires are. Got that. Water pump, head covers, crankshaft pulley. The rest of this looks like standard parts. We'll switch back over. Filter base, thank you. 2 clip type Bs. Bossa pump. Good. Crankshaft pulley. Cover B. A. And we're good. Okay, before we do anything else, just because I want to get this on there before I forget. Is this, like I said, this game's more than happy to let you do the rest of the build and then try to sell the card and they say the card's not complete and it's because of those clips right there. Just to avoid that problem and just make sure you get those clips put in there before you get too far down the pike, so to speak. Alright, let's get the water pump on. Pulley, go. Do we have anything else up here? Yes, filter. Back of the engine should be done. Get the pulley and the serpentine belt. Pretty sure none of that is. Oh, then the filter is performance parts, so we'll want that. There. Again, not much of an improvement, but it's still better than stock, even if only by a little bit. Right. I need another belt, it looks like. Get the air filter installed. Okay. We got just the belt and the top of the filter. So go ahead and grab those. These both should be standard parts, so we're not even going to go over to the other store. There we go. And now once we get this all put on, we should be able to put... Yeah, we're going to go ahead and add that. That's going to be, I think, the last thing we put on. Get down there. There we go. Right. And that, they say, is that. Looks a hell of a lot nicer than when we started, that's for sure. Very nice. I like how we just have a V8 engine in our back pocket. Right, everything looks green across the board. Boom. So much better. Before we do anything else though, let's deal with this fuse box. Okay, so it's got a complete set of fuses, thank goodness. We're still going to replace them. Okay. And so we're already in deconstruct mode. Gimme. Yep. Right. As I've said on previous streams, you never trust the fuses and relays. Rule number 1, always assume they are trash along with the rest of the car. makes your life a little easier. This was just one of these, so one type B, one type C, a medium fuse type C, and we need 2 of the type Bs, 3 type A relays, and fuse box base B, and we're also going to need fuse box cover B. Bang. Okay, let's get that put back together. And done. Okay, so let's take a look from the engine perspective here. What we got: we need battery, our steering, washer, radiator, servo, zoom me out a little further, man. Come on. Or not. That works too. Okay. So let's go order a bunch of stuff again. Oh. Probably could have stayed in electronics because I need a battery. Go. That. The rest of this can be found over here in the normal shop. And there we go. That on there first. Battery in. Power steering. Radiator, if I get my mouth to work. Yeah. While we're in here, let's go ahead and get the fluids. Actually, hang on. Bit of a perfectionist here. I got a little work with that. I don't want to overfill it, but at the same time, I make sure I get the right amount in there. There we go. Pretty much all these you can go until it tilts back. The only exception I make is with power steering. Because if anybody's played this game, you know that sometimes the game likes to screw with you, and you try to fill the power steering fluid up to the same, using the same telltale sign like that. It'll still complain about the reservoir not being full, despite the bottle tilting itself back. So, one thing to keep in mind when you're playing, if you ever get that bit of frustration, just because it's full doesn't mean it's actually full. So you just keep going until it just starts to overfill. You escape. Good to go. Okay, we're up to 68%. And we're actually making a pretty decent profit on the car already. We're going to keep going though. We're in assembly mode. Make sure we don't have anything else missing. It doesn't look like it. I mean, other than the tires, but we have those. All right. time to move on. Alright, just go ahead and get... We're gonna have to get that from underneath. Never mind. But yeah, that's everything on the engine compartment. So, get her up in the air. We'll take care of the fuel system, then the exhaust, and then we'll work on the suspension. Get rid of that. Oh, we need to get the gearbox on, but I also need to get a starter. But we'll do that here in a minute. I want to get the gas tank and the fuel pump taken care of. So, go here. No performance gas tank, so that one's easy to get. I didn't want to go there. I wanted to go here. Fuel pump. Takes a bog standard fuel pump. Go. Back in assembly mode. And she's got a fuel system now. Alright. Let's put her... Oh, hang on. Select something, then put it in assembly mode. Middle mufflers, front exhaust pipes, and rear mufflers. All of which can be bought here. So, grab 2 middle mufflers, 2 front exhaust pipes, 2 rear mufflers. Alright, let's get this all put on there, and we can move on. Over here, we get the gearbox put on. Starter, which that's over in electronics. List, starter, thank you. Okay. We're not going to put the drive shaft back in just yet. Mainly because we're going to be rebuilding the suspension. And I don't want to have to take that thing off a second time. There. I want to check here. I want to go back over this way. Okay, we're up to 72%. So, pretty much all we have left now is the rear suspension and the front. And then, like I said, alignment and dyno. So, let's get this thing apart. The suspension comes apart pretty easily. A lot easier. Okay, why did you... Almost accidentally clicked on the wrong part. I was like, why aren't you coming off? Oh cool, we leveled up. I've already got all the skills maxed out, so it doesn't really matter, but still. One step closer to reaching max level. Why you no come? There we go. For some reason I guess I must have moved my mouse when I was trying to do the disassembly, but it was like balking at me for some reason. Weird. Okie dokie. That's everything off the back end. Let's see what we can salvage. I'm going into focus mode here, so bear with me. Alright. Like we're fixing up quite a few of them here. I seem like most of them. Take a look. Oh yeah. Look at that. That's going to make our shopping list very short. I'll take that any day. Okay, small river bushings. Two rear shock absorbers. I used to just trash everything, but since I'm not doing performance parts on the suspension, I found a little more efficient way to get these assemblies done, and it's been helpful in trying to keep some of the video times down, although we're still kind of going about an hour and a half with each episode. Nothing wrong with that, just save a little bit of time here and there. You know, it's always good. Excuse me. Alright, let's get that on there first so we can get rid of this drive shaft. Leaf springs on. That on there. One nice thing about these older cars, their suspensions are a little more simple, but not by much, but enough to make your life a little easier when you're putting all this stuff back together. Compare that to the build we did for the Mustang, and this isn't quite so elaborate. Okay. Well, that's embarrassing, but we'll leave it in. Apparently I never balanced these. What happens when you get in a hurry? Thankfully it's a minor screw up. Remember, I had to do everything else but balance the damn tires. That's a new one for me. Usually I catch this before I get very far. Easy fix. I'm sure some people who are going to be watching this in the future are going to be like, dude, you forgot to balance them. And then hear about an hour or so later, it's like, oh wait, yeah, I forgot to balance them. So there's your vindication. Pro streamer and pro YouTuber. 100%. Okay, that should be everything. Except for the fucking rubber bushings. Just to know where they go. Put that leaf spring on, didn't bother to put the bushings in. Mechanic having extra parts after they get done with something is a bad thing. Seems like an obvious statement, but that's because it is. Now we're set. Alright. Get this apart, I guess. Give me the brake disc, thank you. Come on out. There you go. At least you don't have to use a torch to get any of these out. That would suck. Although it would be more realistic. But again, game balancing. I want to make it, you know, stupidly difficult. But, you know, have the rusty bolts be more just a minor impedance than a frickin', you know, hellish experience. I'm just randomly taking off parts at this point. Oh, kind of. At least this game's nice enough to tell you if you've missed taking off a part that you need to take off before you get to the actual part that you're trying to do. Otherwise, I think I'd be a little more frustrated with this. Okay. That. The suspension arm off. Gotta get that, that, that. Yeah, it's all the front suspension parts. Let's see see how much of this we can fix up. Come on, Schwartz. There we go. Okay, that should have took care of a good number of them at least. Let's see where we're at here. 3 pages worth of parts. It saved us some trouble. The bushings, I'm not surprised, because the bushings are never a repairable thing. Those are basically a consumable, if you think about it. You know? Not the least bit surprised those aren't fixable. Oh, snap. How do we... Start over. You know why I'm starting over? Because of this stuff. Right here. And I need to go back over to the parts bench because I think I might be able to fix at least some of these. I jumped the gun again. Bear with me here. Doing it live. Okay, none of that could be fixed. Good to know. Seriously? Yeah. Okay. Good to know. Okay. So, back to this. Alright. Still saved us a little bit of effort. Actually, hang on. Let's get rid of... Before I forget. Perfect. Nope. I'm gonna go there. Okay, 12 rubber bushings. Done. Wheel hub bearings. Thank you very much. Got your outer tie rods. Shock absorbers. Wheel hub caps, because we all know how important those are. 2 end links. Okay. 2 front springs. Thank you. Shock absorber caps. Got your inner tie rods. Brake pads. 2 ventilated brake discs. Although to be fair, I could probably be honing these, but it's fine. At this point, it doesn't make that much of a difference, to be honest. Okay. Let's start bolting this stuff back together, shall we? Before we get to anything else, we gotta make sure the bushings are put in. For the love of God, get the bushings put in. Got both on this side. I thought I was missing one. That on there. Bearing rack in place and the sway bar. Get the other nickel. The inner tie rods put on. Okay. Get you installed. You. Okay. Got the bearing, brake disc, cap, pads. Before we get too farther. And I just realized I missed a step again. Go ahead and get these suspension arms on, and it'll become plainly obvious what I missed. Boop. But at least it's a minor mess up this time. Okay, we're all good now. Come on, get in there. Cool, time to get the brake put on and the tire. Coming along nicely. is why you need so many rubber bushings. You need at least 12 to do most of these builds. The only exception I've really seen was on, I think it was a 2017 Mustang that I worked on. That one had a slightly different configuration for the front suspension, but majority of the time, yeah, you're going to need 4 for each set of, suspension arms. You're going to need, so that's 8, and you need 4 for the cross member. And there we go. 100% across the board. What we like to see. And she's got to, hang on. Push that back over here, and then we're going to move this thing over to the alignment rack. And we're going to get the headlights and the wheels aligned. I just hate this part because this has like, I could just make out that little rounded shape there of the light, and it's like I have to kind of sit there and kind of jiggle this back and forth a little bit to be able to see it. And like I said, you don't have to have it exact. It's not like this car is actually going to get, driven. I mean, other than doing the test track stuff, but yeah. If only were this easy to do in alignment in real life. You ever seen the setups they use for that? I mean, they got these little reflector dealy-boos. Yeah, it sounds like a pain in the ass. I've seen people do them. Like, I used to watch a mechanic stream on Twitch a long time ago, and it doesn't look fun. And it takes them forever to do it, too. And I guess we'll put it out front. Oh, no. We need to do... We'll do the screenshots, and then we'll do the engine dyno. So, that, do... Cool. I've already got screenshots of the other cars, so technically this is duplicate, but we're going to use, like I said, I tend to use the front picture as the thumbnail. Seems to be pretty nice way to kind of put a bow on the episode. But yeah, let's get this over to the dyno room and see how good of a job we did. Would I like to proceed? Sure. So 300 horsepower, 390 pound-feet of torque. Excuse me, that's straight from the factory. Let's see where we end up. And that logo almost looks like a variation on the Beretta logo, by the way, the firearms company. Except the arrows are straight on the logo for the company, not, grouped up like that. Oh, we got a drag rating now that have the DLC. Nice. I could do some more tweaking to it, but I'm going to take those numbers because we're going to end up selling this one. Well, actually, no, one second thought, I might actually keep this one. I sold the first one. Might actually keep this one. It's not like it's not like I don't have garage space. They give you, I think it's like 8 or 10 rows of parking spots, so you got enough to keep a pretty good herd of cars. So I think this one might actually be a keeper. Just because it's a themed car and I was hasty selling the previous one. Alright, let's put her outside. Preview of things to come. Sort of. Okay, so what's our final numbers look like? So we bought the thing for, what, 27 grand, and we're selling it for 84 We made about 56,000. So not the largest, payday, but again, we're not selling it. This one's, like I said, this one's a keeper. Yeah, for a themed build, this comes together pretty fast. I liked it the first time I did it, and I wanted to redo it just for YouTube. And hope you enjoyed it. I'm gonna go ahead and put this thing in here, and off it goes. All right. Thank you for watching. Make sure you hit the subscription button if you want to, see more of this stuff. Get the alerts for when I do the episodes. I'm trying to put them out at least every once in a while. Like I said, I'm still kind of in between jobs right now, so I'm able to spend a little bit more time on this. But for now, I'm kind of doing like one or two at a time. So keep your eye on the channel, and we'll see you next time.